Correct. So the basic thing which you have to keep in mind is that that whatever we are supposed to write, we will write keeping in mind that the company is trying to minimize its cost, reduce its cost, right? Okay, fine. Uh, the company Troll has been in business for more than 50 years, right? And owned by a same family. There is a strong sense of tradition and loyalty to the family amongst the workforce. The average time that an employee has worked for the firm is 15 years. However, this has led to static and bureaucratic culture. For example, the company's information system. Company's information systems are mainly paper-based, and in line with this traditional business culture, the organization is divided into set of functional departments, including production, warehouse, distribution, human resource, and finance, right? So two main important things information is given in this question. The first one is that that the people are loyal, right? Probably people are hardworking also, but that is actually creating a problem because things are quite static now, right? We are not innovating anything probably, and the company is divided into multiple divisions. So how this information is important, we don't have any idea, but let's keep this thing in our mind. In order to achieve Kroll company's overall strategy. Now, what was the overall strategy? Cost leadership, right? In order to achieve the overall strategy, the CEO has decided that there needs to be re-engineering of the process. She decided that this project should begin with the company's distribution department. Once this has been completed, the other departments will then similarly re-engineered after one another. So what they are doing, um, they are trying to re-engineer the process, right? And she decided that this project should begin with the company's distribution department, and then in case possible, we will further extend that. As part of the BPR exercise, a new information system has been introduced in the distribution department to replace the existing paper-based system. So something should come in your mind that what can be the benefits, what can be the drawbacks if we are moving from a paper to a automated system, or maybe a new information system. The new system allocates driver vans and routes through new artificial intelligence algorithm, which claims to achieve significant efficiencies. The system will also automatically checks outgoing goods dispatch notes against purchase order, thereby removing the possibility of mistakes in delivering the wrong goods to the customer, right? So this is basically the benefit which the system will bring to the company, right? So this is the overall introduction of what the company is planning, right? So if we are doing the business process re-engineering, that re-engineering has to be connected with the cost leadership strategy. That means our objective is to reduce costs. And if it's not reducing our costs, that means this process is not going to work with the overall corporate strategy. So that should be the final verdict. Okay, fine. Let's move to the next part. Next part in the sense, next. Okay, so, okay. So this part says that the CEO has asked you as a performance management expert to complete the post-implementation review of the BPR of the distribution department by performing a financial cost benefit analysis. Now, this is basically a requirement that you have to do a cost benefit analysis. So definitely there will be some costs, definitely there will be some benefits, and we are supposed to compare cost and benefits in order to get the net benefit. Most probably this should be it. To assist you in this, the project manager has supplied you with her notes on the process and cost within the distribution department under the old and new system, which is in appendix number 1, right? So let's see what we have in appendix number 1, right? This is appendix number 1. So this is among one of the very few questions where examiner may ask you to do some calculations, right? So calculation is part is definitely here, right? Now this is what the structure is. Project manager notes. The first point is starting with notes relating to the old system and notes relating to the new system, right? So let's read these information and let's try to identify what we can do here, right? We will do it quickly and then I will tell you why I have chosen this part of the question to do in today's session, right? It has been identified that the two distribution staff spend all of their time creating efficient travel routes for deliveries and allocating drivers when, right? So two of the distribution staff is doing actually what is creating is spending time to create efficient travel routes for deliveries and allocating drivers and vans. How it is connected with the BPR process? Because in BPR process it will be done by AI system that will directly route the driver, right? It was noted that 4% of all delivered goods were queried by customers as they were not the goods that they ordered, right? One manager in the customer service department spent some times dealing with such problems, right? The annual budget of the cost of the distribution department is 2.1 million. So annual budget is also given here. Average annual staff wage in the distribution department is 30,000. Annual wages are also given. And distribution department 30,000. The customer service manager spent 4 days per week handling queries relating to wrongly delivered goods. And the customer service manager annual wages are 42,000 for 5 days per week. Right. So this is basically the overall current system. So what is the problem in the current system? The current problem, not exactly the problem. The first thing which is important here is that there is a person who is supposed to schedule everything. There is a person who is supposed to deal with the wrongly delivered goods probably. And then there is a annual cost of distribution department, budget of the distribution department is given. Then there is an annual wage in the distribution department is around 30,000. So this is the general cost of the employees there. And the customer service manager. Now, who is the customer service manager? He is the customer service manager. Sorry. Okay, customer service managers spend around 4 days per week handling the queries. And this is basically the cost of customer service manager, which is overall 42,000. So this is basically what they are doing in the current system. Now, what we are expecting in the new system, the hardware cost is around 50,000. Software cost will be around 185,000 and annual ongoing service cost is going to be 23,000. It is expected that the new hardware and software will last for 5 years. And the cost of retraining, scheduling a staff in the duties is 1,000. Initial cost of training a staff in the new system is 2,500. And annual budget ongoing training cost in the system is around 1,000. So you are supposed to make a cost benefit analysis in this case. Now, first of all, you have to think 2 to 3 areas, right? The first thing is that you have to identify that which cost will get affected in terms of increasing, in terms of cost saving, right? The second thing is that you have to identify which cost is a one-off cost, which cost is annual cost, and which cost can be capitalized, right? Because there are 2 to 3 types of costs generally whenever we start any this type of thing, right? So I'm giving you 2 minutes to think, 2 to 3 minutes to think regarding this question, and just try to highlight the issues which you think points which you think can be saved, can increase, something related to cost benefit analysis, what you will do, right? And then we will discuss that. So just take 2 to 3 minutes to analyze this. All right. So what do you think about hardware cost? Hardware cost is 50,000, right? So obviously it's a new cost, it's a cost to the new system, right? So this is the cost part. But how much shall we include in this analysis? I mean, we are supposed to do an annual, what will be the annual saving or annual cost? You can apply different methods here also, but right now we are doing the simple concept of uh, per annum benefit, right? Hardware cost, shall we charge 50,000? It's basically it's a overall cost. So definitely that will be 10,000 because this cost relates to 5 years. So obviously this should be around uh 50,000 divided by okay, sorry, it's 50,000. 50,000 divided by 5, it should be around 10,000. Same goes with the software cost. So if you are charging the annual cost, if you are charging the 100% cost in this situation, that will not be acceptable, right? So you have multiple options. You can also do NPV method if you want to do the NPV method, but the problem with NPV method is that we don't have cost of capital in this case. So in that case, you have to assume something, right? So, and software cost, I'm just doing it one by one, right? Software cost is 185,000. That will also be divided with 5 in order to get per annum cost. And what about the annual service cost? Annual ongoing service cost, which is 23,000. Are we also supposed to divide it by 23,000? By 5? It will remain 23,000 because it's an annual cost. So examiner actually got some different opinion. Examiner said that the students couldn't identify which figure they are supposed to divide with 5 and which figure is supposed to remain same. Now, what about the retraining cost? Cost of retraining, scheduling staff in new duties, and initial cost of training staff in the use of new system. How you will treat this 3,500? What do you think? How can we treat this 3,500? 1,000 and 2,500. Shall we divide it with 5? Or shall we charge the complete cost in this year? We have to divide it with 5 because this is the cost of retraining scheduling staff in the new duty. So it's a kind of one-off cost which the company will bear, right? So it will not be a good idea to charge complete 1,000 in this year because this cost relate to the 5 year. The benefit will come to 5 years. So that will be 1,000 divided by 5. And this will be around initial training cost is 2,500 divided by 5, and that will be around 500. Training costs, the last 13 training costs, since this is an ongoing training cost, annual training cost, we will keep it 1,000, right? Now, why I kept question mark here? Because these are the cost, right? Which will incur. Now, what about the saving? Because saving will be from the older system, right? So now we have to identify that what will be the saving. I'm not going for totaling part because that is something which you guys can do because you are supposed to do it on Excel. Um, so what can be the saving? Can you identify what will be the saving in this case? There are two costs which are given in the first part. 30,000 is the annual staff wage cost and $42,000 is the customer service cost. And there is no other cost given in this question, right? In the first part. So that means that savings will relate to any of these two or both of these or something like that. So what will be the saving? Two of the distribution, yes, you are right. Uh, two of the distribution staff spend their time on creating efficient travel routes. So definitely, because this will be done by AI, so you will save that money, right? So saving in distribution, no, saving in staff wages, and that will be 2 times 30,000 because we are calculating annualized thing, right? And customer service manager. Now, there can be some dispute in customer service manager because the question says that customer service manager's annual salary is 42,000 for a 5 days week. The customer service manager spend 4 days. Yeah. Customer service managers spend 4 days per week handling queries relating to wrongly delivered goods, right? So since we are assuming that this is not going to be the case in the new system, so there will be saving, right? So technically the saving will be around because he is working 5 days and 4 days can be saved. So 42,000 divided by 5 times 4, that will be around 33,600, right? But if someone wants to challenge this assumption, because I think you can write the assumption whenever you are discussing afterwards. So the point here is that what I mean, 4 days will be saved. So will you be able to save the salary? Because saving salary, it's not a variable cost, right? It's probably the fixed cost. So that is a question mark in this question, right? So what assumption can we take is that this manager will do some other work where where we will not need some new worker. So probably we will save that money. But if someone says that, if a student is saying that no, the saving cannot be made because this is if the company is keeping the manager and the company is paying them full salary. So with respect to decision making, it's not going to be a relevant cost. So if you want to ignore that, you have to write a proper justification for that. But right now we are assuming that someone else, somewhere else, this manager, we can utilize this manager so we can save the money. So that will be overall net benefit or the cost. Net benefit or cost, right? Now, whatever the benefit, I think there was some benefit here. I think it was around because I have written the suggested answer. So let me try to, I mean, instead of doing 21,900. Yes. Mm, so it's 21,900. Now, what is important here? What majority of the students do is they generally stop here because they are done with cost benefit analysis, right? If you see the requirement, if you come to the requirement, it's here. Requirement is that CEO has asked as a performance management expert to complete the post-implementation review of BPR. Post-implementation review of BPR of the distribution department by performing a financial cost benefit analysis, right? So you are actually giving a report. You are actually handing a report to the CEO, right? So technically, you have to discuss something with relation to this part. Like net benefit, if 21,900 is a net benefit, so is this enough for the company? Is this a good benefit? Not a good I mean, is this a material benefit? Is this a significant benefit? Not a significant benefit? What other areas the company can think, like the assumption which I said, that you have to justify the assumption that, look, we have calculated this figure, but the last customer service manager, you have to, analyze whether the saving will be made or not, because if you are keeping the manager at the same salary, how much saving can be done in that case? So you have to write something. If you are not writing anything, and if you are just leaving this question as it is because you think that you did everything, yes, you will get few marks. You will get most of the marks probably, but I think you should write at least 2 to 3 marks as a post calculation review type of thing, that what else you think that can be written here, right? What else, in the sense that if you want to, if you are sharing this report with the CEO, what else would you like to tell the CEO regarding this benefit? Okay. So you have to think regarding it, that what else I can write. See, this 2.1 million benefit, since 2.1 million district annual cost we haven't utilized anywhere. Can we use this 2.1 million 2.1 million cost in this analysis? Number one. Number two, the assumptions which we are making, because this assumption is quite important regarding this customer service manager. The third thing which you can explain is what can be the other benefit which are not listed here, but which company can have, or what can be the costs, other costs which are not listed here, but the company may face such cost, right? So if you think that anything you would like to discuss with the CEO, you have to write it in post calculation part, right? That's basically something which generally is missing in this type of question, that we just calculate the answer if there's some sort of calculation is required, and we don't comment on that. Remember my words, that whenever, let's suppose the EVA calculation is there or any other sort of calculation is there, after doing all these calculations, you have to tell the reader, mainly the CEO, any issue, any problem, anything which you like to communicate, you should write it there. Right. So what 2 to 3 points we can write here is that the first point which we can write here is that cost saving is 21,900 because the overall objective of the company is cost leadership, right? Strategy of cost leadership. So first of all, we can connect it with that. So 21,900 divided by 21, 2.1 million. Saving will be 1.04%, right? 1.04% is not a material saving, right? So if it's not a significant saving, then that point you can criticize, right? That the saving is there, but the saving is not as much compared with, as such compared with 2.1 million budget. So, I mean, this can be considered as a rounding of error also. Okay, so this is the first part which you can consider. The second part is that you can consider the assumption of saving in customer service manager costs. Because if we are saying that if let's suppose if the saving is not there, or let's suppose the saving is lesser compared with 33,600, then the net benefit will further reduce. And ultimately, the overall benefit can be less than 1% even, right? So in that case, it will not be a good idea to, financially, it will not be a good idea, right? But but if someone say that right now this 1% saving is there, so shall we tell the CEO not to, don't change the system from the current system to the proposed system just because of the reason that we are expected to have saving of just 1% per annum? There can be some other things as well, some non-financial side, right? Let's try to revisit the question so that we can recall something if we can. This is the part of the question which is actually connected with this, right? What can be done with the new system? So new system is more accurate, and the new system is automatically dispatching notes against purchase order, thereby removing the possibility of mistakes in delivering the wrong goods to the customer. So efficient, the system is efficient, the system is more accurate, right? So we can write the non-financial benefit here also. Non-financial benefit in the sense, non-financial benefit. Non-financial benefit in the sense that there will be more accuracy. More accuracy can lead to more higher customer satisfaction. Right? And since the company is operating in a difficult market, this can improve future sales. Right? It will be more efficient system in terms of route identification. So it may reduce the workload of probably the drivers, resulting in, some sort of, mm, motivation is not there. Motivation should not be the case. Employees will be relaxed in that case. So employee from the employee perspective, it can be a good idea, because in that case, employee will be more relaxed because the one who is closer to the destination is supposed to go and collect and deliver something like that. So that's basically the important thing which you must do whenever you are whenever you are done with the calculation part. And if you see the examiner commenting, examiner report, not report, marking scheme. Marking scheme suggests what? See, this is the marking scheme. Calculation, depreciation is of 1 mark, ongoing is of 1 mark, on or one-off cost is of 1 mark, distribution, customer service. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks, and 6 marks are there for the calculation. And the requirement was of 7 marks. So if you do anything wrong here, you can still earn up to 3 marks for suitable comments in the calculations. That what else you would like to identify or assumptions or anything like that. So that's basically how you can cover the overall marks. So marks were 7, but the available marks were around 9. So if you do one mistake here, you can still recover from comment sign, right? So that's basically something which is extremely important here, right? So I just try to do it, but we will look at these red marks later when we will do its second part, right? So this is the cost benefit analysis. Now, the next requirement, now this requirement is quite interesting, and I really want to do this requirement in this question because uh, you may find it difficult in examination, right? The BPR is applied across, as BPR is applied across trawl, the CEO is, sorry, let me try to, I was just trying to switch off this Grammarly recommendation. As BPR is applied across trawl, the CEO is worried that staff unrest may result that staff unrest may result from these changes, right? For example, the distribution schedulers were uncomfortable with the changes in their role, which resulted from the new information system in the department. The schedulers were moved. The schedulers who were doing the schedules were moved to duties such as checking drivers, logs, and reviewing maintenance checks on the vans. The CEO would like your assessment on how BPR process will change the culture and accounting information system at Tron. Now, this type of question are quite can be a problematic question part in your exam because whatever you have to do, you have to think because as such, no major issue is given in this question, right? So the examiner is asking you your assessment on the how BPR will change the culture and accounting information system at Tron. So that's it. And this type of question require you to think, to bring something out of the question. Something, one word may bring out a whole complete point, right? So let's move to the basic information which is given there. Let me try to switch it off if I can. So let's move to the first part, right? And let's try to copy and paste it here so that we can understand what we have to do. Now, what we have to do is we need to identify what cultural improvement or cultural problems the company can face and what accounting information system, what can be the change in accounting system, right? How much this requirement is for, let me try to identify. This requirement is of, just a second. Just a second. Okay, I hope you guys can see the screen. So this requirement is actually of 7 marks, right? 7 marks means that we can say, okay, fine, maybe 3 marks for culture, 3 marks for accounting, or maybe 4 marks for culture, 3 marks for accounting, maybe 3 marks for culture or 4 marks for accounting, but it will be around 3 to 4 marks for both. Probably, let's see what is in how much we can write. Okay. So now this is of 7 marks. 3 plus 3 plus 1 can be anywhere. So it's around 7 marks, right? Now I'm giving you 2 to 3 minutes to think that how much we can extract from this part of the question. Okay. Take 2 to 3 minutes and then we will discuss. Okay. Can we think of some points here? Because see, if the requirement is difficult like this, that we don't have, I mean, we have points, but it will be difficult to extract point from such information, right? So let's try to make our work easier, right? Try to identify some major issues, right? Or what can be changed in a good way or a bad way. And technically, if this is 3, 3, and 1, so 3 marks from culture means that some three points we need to identify from culture, and some 3 points we need to identify from accounting, right? Accounting system. So if we are not getting points for culture, we can start from accounting system because that's easier for us, right? We just want to be confident with this question. So let's do the easier part first, right? And then we can copy paste it. It's up to us, right? So let's suppose that what can be improvement in accounting information system. This is the easier part, right? I'm just writing the bullet points that what can be the bullet points which we can identify here. And because we are not practicing the writing part, we are just trying to identify what can we do in terms of pointers here. So can we identify quickly what will be the improvement in accounting information system, considering especially this part? No, 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 no. Yeah, this part. This part, and there was something related to paper, sort of something. Yeah, this one. So the first thing which is going to change is that uh, there will be automation in systems, right? Automation in the system, you have to discuss what type of automation you are talking about. We are talking actually about outgoing goods dispatch notes against purchase order. So this is something, some sort of automation, right? Uh, what else can be done? There will be real-time information, probably because we are dealing it with automatically. So real-time information will be available, right? What else we can write? Can we connect something related to cost saving? There will be, okay, fine. Let's do it in this way that there are multiple divisions, right? There are multiple divisions of this organization. So future integration with other departments, right? And which will bring less duplication of data, because you're not supposed to keep data everywhere if you have an automated system, right? If your systems are connected. And if you want to have one more point, you can connect it with the cost side, that there will be less papers leading to some cost efficiencies, right? So this is the easier part. What can be the tricky part is the culture side, right? So that means out of 7, probably we got 3 to 4 marks, maybe 3 marks, right? Let's assume on a lower side that, let's suppose examiner is not happy with 1 point. So at least we got 3 points, right? Now you're, I mean, you should less panic with this question because you got 3 marks and you are just left with 3 points. Think in this way. So you have, and at least you can recover, you at least you can have 1 or 2 points from this question. So let's suppose you are unable to completely attempt this question, but still you can make most out of it, at least 5 marks out of 7 marks. So I think that will serve the purpose, because it's a difficult part because nothing is given in the question and you are getting most out of it. So you should be relaxed. You should be happy with that, right? So what can be done in terms of culture, right? Try to identify at least 1 point. I just want to hear at least 1 point, 1 or 2 points from your side. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's right, whatever it is. What sort of change you will see in people, management, style of doing work, something, anything. Culture is a static, staff will be resistant to change. See, Brian, the issue is that we are supposed to identify what change it will bring, right? This is not a change. This is a problem. Like if someone asks you that what can be the problems that company can face if company wants to introduce BPR. So I think in that case, this will be, we technically we start with this part because your point is completely valid. Mm, okay, we can, okay, fine. Let's restructure this part that you guys are saying that the static is there, right? Resistant to change. Let's say there will be a culture of, it will encourage technologies or technology, right? So if we are unable, if we are not, if someone is not keen to innovate because this is a new system, we are going to integrate with the new systems. Maybe there will be ERP, maybe we will automate, maybe there will be so many things which we will do in future. So in case someone is not interested in learning, that will create a problem for the company, because in that case company has to, company won't be able to retain them, right? So that means this culture will I mean there will be uh, a sort of change, shift in culture, that now the company is trying to, not go for the typical style, but you know learn the new methods, ways of doing things, like in Chat GPT, like in AI. What we are seeing now is that we have to accept the reality. Initially, universities and institutions were reluctant to accept that reality, but now they are accepting that reality with some rules and regulations, right? So initially there can be some resistance from the employees, but yes, we have to build a culture of innovation, of learning and progressing, because people are not progressing, people are static there, right? So you can enhance this point definitely, right? Leadership style may have to change, because uh, right now there is a bureaucratic system, right? And bureaucratic culture means that few people are responsible for doing things. So, there is quite rigid way of doing things, right? So that will be more, because now we are going for a system. We are going to give control to the other people, because they are supposed to be carrying out certain things, right? Decision support system, something like that. So leadership style may change, because now uh, um, it will be, I mean, critical thinking, or you can say that uh, employees maybe employees are supposed to take the decision based on certain reports, right? So you have to do it. Otherwise, if you keep it static, then again, it will not create that impact, right? Um, in that case, they have to learn, because see, this is basically the role of the distribution staff will change to doing drivers logging. They might not like the new role, so that leave. So maybe the culture of labor turnover will increase, like loyalty, labor employee loyalty may suffer, because of the reason which you have identified, that people are not happy with new system, right? Okay. And one more thing is there, that leadership, it you can connect it with this part. Leaders have to own the new system, and they have to take the responsibility to carry out all these things, and you deliver this thing, right? So at least we got 3 points, 3 to 4 points, right? Because less bureaucratic environment will be there, layoffs will be there. And you have to, and if you want to enhance this point, you can write it like, you have to communicate that who will suffer? The one who is not willing to, the ones who are not willing to continue to learn will suffer, right? So the way you are communication, you have to increase more communication with the employees, because let them realize that what is actually the company is trying to do. Company is trying to progress, and they have to learn, because there will be new opportunities for the employees. If they learn, they will, company will keep them, because these employees are their employees. You have to build a culture of communication, giving them liberty, let them realize their importance. Such sort of things have to, you have to bring such things, right? So I believe if we can identify 3 points, maybe 4 points from the culture side, we can make at least 5 out of 7 or maybe 6 out of 7, right? Don't get depressed if you are not, if you are still, if you are even unable to get any point from the culture side, because this is the difficult part, right? Now I'm just trying to let you guys see how examiner has identified the marking mistake. Now, yeah, we missed one thing. See, we missed one thing. Definition of BPR, as we discussed in the previous part, that whenever the company is trying to introduce a new concept, we have to start from the definition. So I forgot that. So, but it's good I forgot, because something which you forget, you remember that part, right? So BPR is described, this is the basic definition of business process reengineering. So if you are highlighting the basic definition of BPR, so out of 7 marks, you can cover even 1 or 2 marks here. So the culture shock will be lesser in case you don't know what you have to write in culture side, right? So culture side, 1 mark per point, maximum up to 4 points. Accounting system, 1 mark, maximum up to 3 marks. So how many marks are available for this part? 2 marks for the definition, 4 marks for culture, and 3 marks for accounting system. So technically we have 9 points available. So let's suppose if we get 2 points from culture and we write the definition of BPR, which we forgot. I'm continuously repeating it because this will, I, I mean, you may recall it whenever you see such things in your paper, that this is a mistake which we did in our webinar. So we must not repeat that mistake. Right? And how I have connected with it, yesterday I've shown you the examiner copy, the copy of a student where examiner highlighted the marks, right? So this is basically, I try to do that thing. So point number 9 is actually, I hope you guys can see this. Point number 9 is actually connected with this part. So definition of BPR, 1 point, maximum you can get 2 points. So if you write complete 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs explaining BPR, you will still get 2 marks. 3 to 4 marks for the discussion of culture. So I just highlighted the points that how many points I have written in culture, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I think 11 is related to accounting, yeah. So I've written 1, 2, 3 points for culture, right? And 3 points for accounting. So 6 marks for from accounting side, and probably 2 marks for the definition. So probably I will get 7 out of 7. That's basically my point. And since BPR is new, that's why you have to write the definition of BPR, right? And let's proceed to the next part. Let's see what we can do in the next part. Okay, so the next part is appraisal system. Now, this is an interesting part because in this part, we will do it quickly because we are getting short of time. The concern about the culture and change at all have led to long discussions about the human resource management, right? At the board, and let's do this. Okay. The concern about culture and change at all have led to long discussions about human resource management. At the board meeting, other directors expressed worries about the appraisal system and staff turnover, which the CEO wants to address further. The existing system of appraisal is for staff who have to have an annual meeting with their line manager to review their previous year's work, discussing generally how to improve their efforts. So this is basically the system that you have, that the managers are supposed to review their work, and in general they have to identify how they can improve, right? The result of this is an action plan for employee development and a decision on the bonus to be paid, which can be up to 2% of the basic salary, just 2% of the basic salary. Over the years, it has become common for these meetings to be informal and held over lunch and the company expense. Around 90% of the staff receive the full 2% of bonus, right? CEO wants the advice on following the usefulness of the current appraisal process at all and why staff turnover is a bad thing. Now, if you come to professional mark, so the CEO is actually raising a concern here that appraisal system and staff turnover system. So there is a concern. So here you can identify the marks of skepticism, because why the CEO is raising a concern? You have to make sure that whatever concern he is making, what is the ground realities for that? Is there anything which you further would like to identify, further like to share, something like that? So I think this is a easier part. If you see the previous one, this is an easier part, right? So let's quickly go through this. Okay, sorry. So how many marks were for this part? Appraisal system, and this is for 6 marks, right? So 6 marks means what? If before writing, let's try to identify. 6 marks means that probably 3 marks for this, and probably 3 marks for this. Now, I have a question from all of you. Will you start this answer by writing the definition of appraisal, that what is employee appraisal? Yes or no? Like we did in BPR. We forgot to do in BPR. Can be yes or it can be no. Okay. Now try to think, is the company introducing an appraisal system, or company is currently have an accounting company has an appraisal system? Company is having already an appraisal system, right? Company is not introducing it, right? So if the company is not introducing it, you are not supposed to write the definition. This is the same question which yesterday a student asked, right? You are not supposed to write what the appraisal system is, right? And why staff turnover is a bad thing? Because staff turnover is something which they are already calculating. So this is not the introduction of staff turnover. So you may skip this is staff turnover. What is the concept of staff turnover? So that's basically the first point from where I wanted to start, right? Now this part is easier because in this part, the existing system of appraisal is, so we just need to identify 2 to 3 main areas, and we know there are this part is quite easy because we have few things. What are the problems in the appraisal system? Just 1 minute for you all to think. Okay. So the first and the most important point is that the company is what reward system we discussed in the last question in yesterday, was that reward system or whatever system you are making should be clear, should be enough to motivate the workers, right? So the first and the most important thing is that the employees are a line manager review their previous year's work and discuss generally how to improve their efforts, right? Now, what is the overall objective of the organization? The objective of the organization is leadership, right? So, sorry. So whatever, this one. So whatever appraisal system is, or whatever you on whatever the grounds you are setting for employees to get their bonus, should be connected with the cost leadership strategy, right? Or something which is connected, which will lead to cost leadership, which will lead to maybe efficiencies, cost efficiencies, or something, right? Because whatever you do should reflect whatever is in your mission statement or the strategy of the company. So what do you mean by general term, general improvement, right? So the question is asking you the usefulness, whether this is useful or not, right? So let's start with the first point here, that we are saying that it should be general, right? So general improvement should not be there. If there are general improvement, it's quite vague, it's quite broad, it's quite vague. So it should be specific in order to be useful, right? The second thing is that it should be connected with the cost leadership strategy, right? And there is a doubt, and 90% are getting the bonus. So are the standards easy to achieve? If they are, it means that uh, the system is not relevant, because whatever the targets are should be challenging. So you should keep them challenging in order to have a good, useful appraisal system, useful process, right? And then managers are approving that. So our managers, so it seems that managers are, involved, and managers may get a proportion. This thing company needs to check if the managers are getting some proportion of bonus from employees. That okay, fine, we will write a good marks in your statement as your bonus is get the bonus, but you're supposed to give us, let's suppose, 0.5%, or maybe 5% of whatever the total amount is, right? So that need to be checked. And what else? The bonus is 2%, right? So if it's too low, generally companies don't bother to give that bonus, because this is insignificant amount. So generally it is given. So that is not good idea, because if everyone is getting the bonus, it's just a part of your salary. It is not going to will not motivate the labor, right? So it's an easier part, right? And the next part is why staff turnover is a bad thing. Now, this is interesting. Why staff turnover is a bad thing? We know that whenever employee leave, there can be some training cost, there can be some learning curve effect because of the inefficiencies, right? And it can be recruitment cost, right? So these are the costs. But do you really think that staff turnover is a bad thing for company? What the problem company is facing? The company is facing a problem that the employees are not leaving the organization, and that's why the culture is quite static. They are not ready to innovate because everyone is living their same life from past 10 years or maybe 12 years. No one is willing to bring the change, right? So these are the costs. Sorry, where we go. These are the costs which are associated. But now we have to connect it with the scenario. And the scenario says that for troll company, uh, this low labor turnover, just forget about the spelling. I'm just writing it. So labor turnover is resulting in let's write the same word, static environment. So if company wants to, keep their current employee, but they want to, have the culture, they need to train them or, something. If you want to write it, you may, right? Otherwise, it's not that much required. Okay. So let's move to the marking scheme. Marking scheme says that description of the purpose of appraisal, 1 mark. Evaluation of current appraisal process, 1 mark. Staff turnover is 1 mark up to 3 marks, right? So appraisal, we are not defining the appraisal, but we are just telling the CEO why appraisal can be important, right? So this is basically now the important point here is that staff turnover is a bad thing. That is what they ask, right? But you have to balance the answer here that for troll companies, it's low staff turnover is actually creating a problem. Okay. And if you see the marking scheme, professional marks are available for recognition of limitations of cost and skepticism is related to appraisal and staff turnover. Commercial acumen is related to cost benefit analysis. So you have to identify whether the system is practical in terms of BPR. I'm not sure why I'm continuously saying benchmarking instead of BPR. So BPR is relevant or not. So you have to give some practical reasoning. So that's what we did in the cost side, right? Now, let me take you to the examiner examples that what are the examiners as example. Now, this is not related to this question because we discussed marking scheme of this question. So I thought that I should show you what are the common mistakes, what are the mistakes which examiner highlighted in other question, that how to write your answer. I think we had a discussion last time that you have to write complete sentences, right? You don't have to assume that examiner knows everything, right? So let me try to explain you this part. This is something which I got from examiner report, right? For example, some responses indicated that return on capital employed and dividends are not good measures of shareholder value. Comments like this will gain little merit as candidates need to make clear why those matrices are not appropriate. As I said earlier, that this answer is perfectly right. There is nothing wrong with this answer, but you will not get marks because you are not justifying the answer. So, uh, how to write your answer is write complete context that okay, sorry, I just jumped to another question. This is because um, just to tell you guys how you are not supposed to write the answer, right? So we will discuss more about professional marks in tomorrow's session. Return on capital employed is an accounting based measure of performance and as such is likely to have low correlation with the shareholder value. Dividend payments do not represent payments to do represent payment to shareholder, but shareholder value also includes share price appreciation and that is not being measured by sharing, right? So this is a complete answer that why ROCE and dividends are not good measures. Because ROCE is an accounting measure, it has no correlation with the share price or maybe shareholders value. And dividend represents how much money you are paying to the shareholder. So both are not connected with share price appreciation, and that's why we believe that this is not a relevant indicator, right? So both answers are correct, but the first one will get quite less marks because this is just the conclusion. And a student just let examiner to guess why ROC and dividends are not relevant. He has written that these are not relevant. So he's right, but justification is not there, he will not get marks, right? Okay. Now, there is another type of answer which students generally write. The report is lacking in external information in key areas, right? The answer is perfectly fine. There is no wrong with this answer because whenever you are writing a report to the CEO, you have to compare the results with the external, what the other companies are doing, industry averages. So in this case, an industry average is given in Shrine report in two areas. Okay, fine. How you are supposed to write? One of Shrine's objective is to grow sales through charging a premium price. It would be helpful to have some indication of the average prices charged by Sharon rivals compared to the average prices charged by Sharon for a comparable products or comparable products to enable a judgment on premium pricing to be made. So we have identified why we are saying that, look, you have to make a comparison with someone outside the organization, someone with whom you are competing, right? So in this paragraph, we told the CEO that why we are recommending you to have a comparison with the external with some other companies. And in this case, we are just telling that, look, your report is not having external information. CEO will definitely ask why this is, how important, how relevant is this point, and then you will explain him that, look, this is the relevancy. So you have to tell the relevancy at the first point, right? And this is the second thing which I just wanted to discuss with you, maybe 2 points. We'll discuss just one point here. Okay, so marketing spend is not a measure of value, so the barrack should not use this measure. This is again from an answer from some student. Maybe you are among one of those who write such answers. So just telling that marketing spend is not a good measure. Why you think that marketing spend is not a good measure? Tell me the reason why. That why part is missing in this answer. So measuring, so this is the way you can write. Marketing, measuring marketing spend alone would not indicate, will not give, sorry, will give no indication of the return on that spend, and hence would give us no indication as whether that spend had created or destroyed the value. Like whatever we are spending, whether it is generating any sales or not. If the company was able to measure this spend alongside any enhancements in revenue, it could be viewed that one activity had an effect on the another, and measure could be seen more as return on an exposure rather than an expense. The company is already measuring marketing contribution to revenue. It would seem that this relationship between spend and return on that spend is already being measured. To also measure marketing spend on its own, therefore it is best, therefore is at best unhelpful for barrack and could potentially be damaging if barrack has a marketing manager who seeks to increase their budget on an annual incremental basis. Barrack should therefore desist with the measure of marketing spend. So now there is a complete picture that why they are saying that marketing spend is not a measure of value, because marketing expenditure, it alone will not tell you the whole picture. It has to be connected with the revenue, that how much revenue this marketing expenditure is supposed to bring in the company. Maybe definitely, of course, you are students, you cannot write in as much detail as written here, but at least you should try to explain the reason why you think that this spend is not a good measure, why you think that this is not a good indicator, why you think that this is a good indicator. Both. This is not a good indicator, you have to tell the reason. If you are saying that this is a good indicator, you also have to tell the reason. So please don't do this mistake. And that's why I continuously asking students to write their answer, because when you write the answer and you ask your tutor to check that answer and you get that feedback, you can have the idea where you actually went wrong, right? Like this last example. The difference bit zero-based budgeting, the difference with zero-based budgeting is that it's a start from zero. This will help benefit as its aim of controlling costs as there will be no budgetary slack carried forward. The point about budgetary slack is not being carried forward is true and is worthwhile point to make out, but no clear indication is given as to what specifically ZBP does that is both different to the current approach. So the examiner then said that, look, you have to completely explain this, your point. So if you are writing a point, try to write the complete picture, right? Try to write it with reasoning. Don't write things without reasoning, because without reasoning will not result in marks, will not give you marks, right? So that's basically how you can see. In today's session, we covered three things which I believe is important. The first thing is that if examiner is asking you to perform some calculations, try to develop a habit of concluding the calculation, or maybe if you think that there is need to make some assumptions, try to write it. If you are concluding, if you know, write, if you want to write some other benefits which you think are relevant to the discussion, other points, but it's not given there, you may write it subject to the marks, how many marks are available. The second point which we discussed was related to the culture point, because that was 7 mark question and apparently we were not getting any idea about culture. So let's forget about it. Out of 7 marks, just see how much you can get, right, from the other part. So the balance amount will be wrote regarding the culture. The third thing which we identified is that whenever you are introducing something, you have to start with its basic definition. It will give you 1 or 2 marks. Right? The fourth thing which we discussed here, which should be the takeaway of today's session, is that don't write your answer in one sentence, just concluding what you are saying. You have to explain your conclusion, your reason for conclusion, that why you think that this is not a good indicator. Yes, it's a conclusion basically, and why you think that this can be an indicator, right? And I showed you 3 examples that what examiner is thinking regarding the answers which he or she is getting from the students. That these are three extracts from 3 different questions. And in all questions, you can see the same mistakes which are done by the student. Students are writing one-liner, the first part. Students are lining one-liner, students are writing one-liner, and students are writing one-liner answer. 3 different questions, 3 different attempts, 3 different topics, same problem. And that's why I continuously say that examiner is frustrated with this. That is, students are not justifying, students are not connecting with the scenario, students are not connecting with the mission statement, students are not justifying their answers, students are not writing properly. So if you know the things, and if you're not doing if you're doing these mistakes in the paper, the chances of you to pass the paper will be quite good. Right? Oh, that's why I started with this question, because I had an idea that it will take time, because I just want to dissect the whole question, right? Just 5 minutes left, so definitely we won't be able to start with the recap part. But let's see if we can do something tomorrow. Let's see. Any comment from your side? You guys are most welcome to comment. Initially, you guys asked regarding the slides. So slides I will share in the group at the end of by the end of 3 days lecture, 3 days webinar. Anything else would you like to discuss? Just let me know. Any question, any issues, any feedback, anything? Hmm, Monday probably, because next week will be too late. So Monday we can have a session with same time. The student is saying, there's a student who is saying that we can continue with concentrating on how to attempt the paper tomorrow also, and then we can have one session for the recap. So what the other students are thinking, just let me know. See, the timing issue is okay. Anything else? Okay, just a quick feedback from you all. Shall we uh, do the complete question number one tomorrow? And the other option is that I can make a video of a recap of recapping all the question, and I can upload it on the KKDL platform so that you guys can watch it as per your convenience. Is that possible? Because Monday, see, Monday is the working day. So if I, because there are one or two students from I think Zimbabwe or somewhere, where the time gap is like 3 hours. So if I keep a class at 7 or 8, it will fall during their working hours. So that's a problem basically. So the one solution is that I can record those sessions. I can record. We can continue with question number one tomorrow, and I will record the recap part, and then I will share the recordings with you. Is that possible? I will share it on my YouTube channel and on KKDL platform channel, and with all of you if anyone is not from KKDL. Yes, please forward for recording and concentrating on question number one tomorrow. Okay. Okay. So yes, we can do it. So let's keep question number one for tomorrow. We will do one question tomorrow, and then we will do. I will share the recording of summarizing the whole APM label. Okay. Okay. Thank you for taking out your time. So see you tomorrow, same time. Take care. Bye bye.